I'm sure I missed parts of the question. Maybe we'll follow up. We'll get to it. Because she didn't even have the stop sign.
Well, why don't I follow up? You actually gave a great example around the environment and sharing that talks about the power of the state capitol. And really no one should be able more power than the governor. And so as governor, one of the first places you can use power is setting up the commission. So I guess one of the follow-ups I would ask to get Paul's question as well is just who would you look to when you're determining who your commissioner of agriculture would be? Who do you trust on these issues?
I can say the obvious answer because there are lots of land stewardship people in the room, and I'll say land stewardship. And I'll say clean water action. I'll say Farmers Union that has some friends of ours who really care about these things. I'm more interested in pushing more and more towards sustainable agriculture policy. We need a sustainable economy. I mean, we can't have an economy that produces more and more and more goods that people use and we recycle them, we don't recycle them, we get more flat screen TVs. We need an economy that works long term. That means sustainable jobs, which means living wage jobs. It means agriculture where we're not destroying the land in order to do it. And frankly, yes, I'll say land stewardship would be probably the first place I'd turn in terms of getting advice for who would be good and who has the right vision for this. During the Perkins administration, we had some people who really got the guts of it, and we can restore that again, and we need to do that.
So John, we have a little bit of time left, and there are a couple of folks in the audience that would like to ask some questions. So I guess we'll start with, is it Guy? Guy, thank you.
Hi John, my name is Guy Tom. I'm going to take Action Pack 4. I'm also a leader of the Hmong Organizing Program. I'm also Isaiah Organizer for the Northeast Caucus. My question for you is, MnDOT, the Met Council has failed the last 17 years to use federal transportation and reinvestment dollar to implement programs that create jobs for women and people of color. How will you hold MnDOT and Met Council accountable to your government?
Are these 1 minute ones or 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Okay. First of all, when you mentioned MnDOT, I actually, my first term in the legislature, the U.S. Supreme Court had made some findings. We couldn't do affirmative action unless we could document the discrimination that occurred. I was appointed to a task force that was looking at the discrimination at the Metro Council because it was really outrageous behavior there. I mean, offensive behavior year after year after year. It was being overlooked by supervisors and everyone else. And we tried to document it, and we did a good job of documenting it. So we could move forward with the affirmative work to hire and set aside small business, minority women set-aside programs and so on. We're justified by that. And to hear how little we've done in that area and how little progress we've made, I got to say I want to work with you. I want to work with the community in making sure it happens. We shouldn't have to have whistleblowers like HIRE was formed just because of that kind of frustration that nobody's changing it. I want to work with people, and I want to have, if I need people to hold me accountable, I want to have them in the house, in the room, at the table, not somebody who's got to be yelling from out there. You shouldn't have to have a protest at MnDOT to say we're going to change this. You should have MnDOT not be doing that in the first place. And I've been committed to that my whole career. I've remained committed to it. I need your help in making it happen, but I want to work with you.
And Khalid?
Hi, John. It's good to see you again. As you know, there's a lot of homeless people in Minnesota. I'm coming north from my girl. And it's getting worse and worse the more people lose their jobs and they can't pay their mortgages, so they become homeless. And there's 4,000 or more homeless veterans in Minnesota. When you are governor, what precisely will you do to eliminate homelessness for Minnesotans? And is there some kind of a time frame, like you want to have no homelessness by such and such date?
Yeah, I think the whole concept of the Commission on Ending Poverty by 2020, my biggest frustration with that is why we've got to wait so long. But it's going to take that long. At the rate we're going backwards. That's not a very good sign. I spent a lot of my career working on poverty issues and housing issues and homelessness issues, and I feel very strongly about it. And saying I feel strongly about it means more than lip service. And that means when you look at, building trades. When I screened with the building trades, I knew I wasn't going to get their endorsement. I told them, One of my colleagues my opponents is a carpenters union guy. And every issue they cared about, repealing the nuclear moratorium, building the Viking Stadium, Mall of America, were all things I thought I disagree with you on. However, I came to meet with them because I said, as governor, we're going to have a lot of building projects to do. Public housing, just in Minneapolis and St. Paul, has a $500 million backlog of maintenance. We have to invest in that. Frankly, when I was talking earlier about all the people unemployed and all the things to be done, we can do that. We can make that happen. And it's not by robbing Peter to pay Paul. When Governor Pawlenty decided he was going to end the long-term homelessness, what he meant was the hardcore cases, the people who need the services. It was a much smaller population, the whole homeless problem. So we cut $70 million from programs serving people at risk of losing their housing or short-term homeless, and he put a fraction of that, about a fourth or fifth of that, into trying to invest in new housing and services for the long-term homelessness. He, in effect, made the problem much worse, aside from the economy. But we're going to have to invest in this. The bottom line is people always say, we can't afford it. We don't want more welfare. You can take polls that say that. I can also show an equal number of polls who say, because it's the same people. It's all of us. We have that kind of instinct. We're afraid of welfare. We're afraid of this. But the same people are also out there saying, we think working people ought to be able to, I'm going to continue for just a minute. We have a lot of working people. We have working people who are living in church basements because they can't afford housing. And that's not okay. And 90% of the public will say that's not okay. And people believe people ought to live in decent housing. And we can sell that. If we're not so scared of the Republican right and the scarcity, if we tell people we believe in this, they accept that because we know that's in their hearts.